Hi, it's Sue Greenwald with Awaken Stories here. I'm here today with Eva Santiago. Hey, Eva, how are you?
Hey Sue, how are you?
I'm doing great. And we've done several other videos before. All right. So we've done some healing videos. We did your Becoming Awakened video, which was so fascinating. We talked about some unusual experiences you had early in your life, earlier, coincidental experiences.
Oh,
And we talked about similarities that you had with other people as well. So we've done some interesting stuff through the years.
yes, we have, and I've
Yeah.
enjoyed all.
Yeah.
You're you're the best host.
Well, it's so interesting. Everyone has a story. All right.
Yes,
And it's sometimes you have to listen to somebody else's story to say, oh, I
yes,
did that too. Oh, this
yeah.
is why this is, I learned so much from other people. I love it.
Me too, me too. In fact, I think we're all walking books, you
Yeah.
know, and we're just reading through pages of each other's story
Yeah.
and taking what we need and moving on.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
So basically my daughter and I, Deanna, do videos of interesting topics as we're inspired slash told to do. It's not
Yes,
like I'm sitting here making a list. I do have a list, but it's what we're told to do. Okay.
yes. Mhm.
And we do it in the order that we're told to do it usually. And there's often some cool stuff that comes through.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So do you want to pick up the story from there, like why we're talking today?
Yes. So I happen to watch your videos on vampires. And at first I was like, your mind goes to the all the vampire movies and stuff. And I've never ascribed to that. I've never bought into that. And I was like, oh God, not another. And then all of a sudden I heard like, no, watch this one. And I thought, oh my gosh, I knew where the watch this one was coming from, like point up, right?
Mhm.
And it's the reason why that happened was why I had to stop and watch your videos on the vampires was because I had an experience with one.
I'm getting chills. I'm getting chills.
I, you never think that something like that's going to happen to you until it does. And so what happened was my son met this woman and they started dating and she was in LA and we live here in Nevada and he he asked me, he came to me months several months after dating her and I had already met her. She had visited at the house, and all that stuff and he wanted to know if she could move in until, they could get a place here. I mean, things are bad all around. I thought, yeah, I could help. And so she'd been here. She'd visited with him and met the family and all this stuff. And upon first impression, I was like, okay, odd, but I'm open minded. I meet all kinds of people all the time. But this one, I was like, pay attention, pay attention. And when I hear pay attention, I pay attention. And so what happened was, so she started coming around here last spring. She would fly on the weekends from here and visit him and the family and our family, and then she'd fly back, and then they swap back and forth, getting to know type thing. And so you never really know someone until you actually live with them. That's when you really know that person. But during the interim of going back and forth, until they decided that she was going to move here, with me allowing her to come here to my home, um I hang on. Okay, so I was noticing some things, like I said, that were peculiar. And then one weekend, like a few weeks before we went to Destin for the event, she came to visit, and I think it was around Mother's Day. And she we went out to dinner. We all came back. We were sitting in the living room. She and my son had gone to their bedroom. And then, like a little while later, she comes back stands right in the middle of my living room, and she says, I have something to tell everyone. And it was kind of odd. It was kind of like, okay, what's the big deal? And she was very like worked up, and so, spill the tea, lady, what's up, and she blurted it out. um I drink human blood.
Oh,
And we were like, the pause that ensued, right? We were like, is this a joke? Is somebody going to come out with a camera? Like, I don't know. Yeah, And we were like, okay, oh, she's serious. And so we're like, okay. And she says, I drink human blood, and your son says that's not right. And we're like, yeah, he's right. That guy's right. And by now he was in the living room with us too. He joined in the conversation. And so we started to tell her. We were alarmed, all of us. Elena was here, Ronald was here, my son, her, and me. And we were obviously very alarmed with such an admittance. And so she explained to us that no, it's something that she does for her health and, for her beauty and to keep up and looking pretty and everything and young. And the women, Elena and I, the women in the room were like, we never heard of such a beauty routine, but, that's nuts. And then I asked her, I said, you mean adrenochrome? She goes, no, no, not baby's blood. No, it's just, I said, well, where do you get this blood from? And she said, it's from a very good friend of mine in LA. And she was talking like it was something she does. It's like in her nature. And so boy, oh boy, oh boy, I took out my wands. I proceeded to work on her with my son and with Elena and Ronald involved in the cleaning and all of that. I even handed her my one of my cubes and all of that. So she was like shaking as I'm handing her the yellow cube, and we're working with the wands, all of this. And realizing that now it was working to expose her some more. And so, but she was as soon as you could tell, she was receptive. She wasn't fighting it. She was receiving all the energy that was being transmitted to her. And so we did that for several long minutes, and she sat on my couch next to me with the wands in hand, and all the things that I have here were like on her. No joke. Okay, I spared nothing. And then so after that, we had a long talk with her, and we told her, no, that's not acceptable. My son even said, that's sacrilege. That how could you even think that that's something cool?
yeah.
And so we left it there. I was so alarmed after that evening. We all went to bed. And that morning I texted Smarty, and I texted her his picture and yo, what's up? And he went ahead and cleared her. And he told me once I got to Florida in June, I asked him, and he said that yeah, she'd been replaced. And but so I was keeping all this in mind after that huge admittance. What do you do with that? It's like, are you gonna stop? Are you gonna, well, what's going on? And so the next day she flew back out to LA. And I didn't want her to feel like any kind of way. I'm still very loving. And I put it out there. They were leaving. She was avoiding me. And I walked up to her and I said, you're good? And she goes, yeah. And she dropped her bags and gave me a big hug and kept thanking me, for everything that had happened that night. And she was humble. She was on the humble side of things because of what just all this energy she just received. And so the weeks went by. We went to Destin, we came back, and around the 1st of July was when she moved in. And like I said, what ensued was like even more. No, the craziest thing I think was the blood, drinking the blood. But what but once we got to see her and who she really was, then I really started like paying attention, like, okay, I'm not knowing the vampires, details yet, but I'm sure that awake to the fact there's something out here. Okay. We're all, just paying attention. And so one of the days after, soon after she arrived here, she and my son got into an argument, and I'm going to sleep. I don't know where they were. I think they were on a date or something. And he calls me with these words. This is exactly what he said, Sue. It was like 2 in the morning. He calls me and he goes, Mom. I said, yeah. He goes, she's vanished. And I'm like, what do you mean vanished? What? He goes, no. We were arguing in a parking lot. As I was turning the car around, she opened up the door and she vanished. I don't know where she is. And he was like bugging out,
Right.
freaking, you know? And
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you talking? Come on, man. He goes, no. When he used that word, those words vanished. All these things are lining up for your video to answer all these questions. The video you did with the ant. And so I'm like, okay, nobody vanishes. Okay. And then I started thinking, this whole thing has opened up other family relatives of mine that I had no idea about. Let's put a pin on that. The last time I ever remember anyone vanishing like that, right, from my sight, was my grandfather on my father's side of the family. I was a little girl, Sue, and this man would terrify me. He would just pop in out of nowhere. And I remember being like, where'd he come from? And not knowing where, and he would play like mean games with me, just make me run around and then make him chase him and then disappear. That's kind of, you know, bothersome to a child,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Not typical.
he used to scare the crap out of me. And I never
Yeah.
liked.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, so all these dots are connecting, right? And so back to what's going on in my home. Another thing that we noticed when we all met her, so me and the family, so there's other witnesses, we noticed that she says she's 34. However, she appears, she says she's 34, but she seems older, like way older, you know? And that's one of the things that I remember from the Ann's video, is that they are way older than whatever they appear to be, because
Right.
it just got an old energy about her, more than 34 years old. And so I was, everybody, yeah, she's not 34. There's no way, right? So she told me during one of the energy cleanings that I did with her, and um not clearings, that she and my son had another life where she was an old woman in the woods. And my son, according to her, had passed away and left her to fend for herself. And she became this old woman in the woods. And as soon as she said that, I was like, oh, so you are, I don't know, you could be a billion years old for all I know, so she would say things about her past life like that, you
Right.
know. Another thing we could never figure out is she's none of her stories add up. For instance, she says she's a nail tech in California, and could just, like she was living on her own and all this stuff. However, to she likes to live lavishly. And I'm like, okay, well, you're either lying or you got some old family money or something. It just doesn't make sense. California is very expensive right now. How in the world do you afford to live like that? The way, because
Yeah.
she came here just to not to work really, because she told me a few days into being here, I thought she was going to go out and get a job. And she was like, no, I came here to enjoy. And I don't know why your son works so hard. And I was like, because that's what we do around here.
Right.
But she gave off the vibe of, just opulence, and everything she has is, just top quality and everything. And I love that, but I can't really afford that right now,
Right. Most
But
of us are Walmart shoppers, right? Well, can we back up just a second though?
sure.
The day they had the fight and she vanished out of the car, you kind of didn't complete that story.
That's it. That's okay. So thank you. So she decided to disappear. And we went looking, no, he went looking for her for 12 hours. And he had found one of her old phones and where he could track her and see where she was. And she was wandering out in the desert. Now, she's never been here. Desert weather is totally different than California weather. You've been in the desert, it requires a lot of water intake. In fact, I had to remind her, she would wake up and she would tell me, I'm dizzy. Why am I so dizzy? And I would tell her, are you drinking water? Because here you drink water. You got to carry a jug of water around.
Yeah, yeah.
Cry. And she would look at me like, you're kidding. And I'm like, no, I'm not. Drink the water, woman.
I hiked once. I did a 6 mile hike in outside of Vegas.
Uh-huh.
I had drank a giant ass bottle of water, like 32 ounces at the start of the hike. That's all
Uh-huh.
I had. I
Yeah.
thought I was going to die at the
Yeah.
end of
No,
6 miles. I couldn't talk. All I wanted to do was stick my head in a pool and
yeah.
drink it all. You know,
No, people don't understand until you
yeah,
live here.
yeah,
No. So my son was worried because he was like, Mom, she's the pin over here shows that she's going out to the Red Rock. Red Rock is all desert. She
yeah.
doesn't around, you know? And so I was doing energy work and I was texting her, hey, you know what, this isn't cool. What are you doing? You're a grown up. Don't be
Yeah,
doing this crap. I feel responsible for you. You're living with me, stop it.
yeah.
And she was so here's the amazing part. So amongst the things that she had brought into my home, um, there were times where she would, call me in her room and, ask me, can I put this here and can I put this there after she moved in, trying to situate herself. And one day she called me up and I was in my bedroom. She said, Eva, come here. I got to show you something. And I was like, okay. I went in her bedroom and she took out a witch doll like this big,
Ooh.
ugly, like it just looked and felt dark, you know. And she asked me, she was kind of like, playfully going, and where do you think I should put this? And I said, you can put that damn thing right in the trash. I don't. I said just like that. I wrote, in Spanish, basura. Basura is right there. I'll walk you to it if you want me to. And she goes, oh, but you don't do the Halloween. And I was like, no, we don't do Halloween. I don't do Halloween. I don't do any of it. I said, the vibes here in my home. Yeah. You like them? Yeah. Well, they stay that way because I don't allow any dark crap like that in my home.
Yeah, yeah.
And and at first she was like, oh, okay. And I kept my eye on that damn doll, okay, because I knew she was going to hide it somewhere. She didn't go get rid of it like I asked her to. And the day that she vanished, and we went looking for her, my son was getting frantic. I kept telling him, you know what, she's a grown woman. Um, let her figure it out. She's got a phone, she's got money, she could figure it out. I didn't want him to get out there and get in trouble
Yeah,
or
yeah,
um, but he's getting to know her, he's getting feelings for her, he's just gonna go off and be the hero and try to find her. And so he leaves. And so I'm continuing with the work here. And then I remembered the stupid doll and I knew just where she'd put it, the witch doll. And I went and I grabbed it and I said, I told Ronald, I said, come with me. I gotta throw this doll out. And he goes, where do you want to go? I said, let's go to this dumpster over here behind the shopping center. We're throwing it out. It's leaving my property now. No sooner did we go over there and throw it in the trash. My son texts back, oh, I found her, his girlfriend. She's with me now. We're heading back home. See that? I was like, huh, look at that. Got rid of one witch and had to get rid of that. You
yeah.
know, there was something, there was some dark energy in that stupid doll. You know, once I got rid of it, they came back and that was that. And so that's how that ended. I told my son, I said, that's a red flag right there, dude. Nobody vanishes like that out of thin air. And then you have to go, looking all over the, it was crazy.
She came back like nothing had happened. Is that true?
Yeah, she said that, she had found an Uber driver and that he was like a dad that was looking out for her. And I had a sense that she knew that guy because she'd come to Vegas many times before that. She knows Vegas. Okay. And so this wasn't like her first pony ride at Vegas. She knew people. We feel like she knows people and she doesn't disclose a whole lot.
Yeah.
Very pretty person, you know. So let me see. So then another thing that I noticed, Deanne was saying that they can't see the reflections in the mirror, right? And I was like amazed at how vain this woman is. Like she would ask me all the time, "Do I look good?" and all this stuff, and I'd look at her like, "Yeah, well, relax. You're okay, you know." But it was extra. It was like very
O-
insecure.
Over the top, kind of.
Yeah, and so I noticed one of the things that she brought was this tall mirror, like from ceiling to floor mirror, right? It was a very tall mirror. And then my son had bought her another vanity mirror, like big, right? And I was like, why is she so taken in with looking at herself and then watching the video when Deanne reveals that they can't see themselves? So I was like, oh, that's why she's so insecure, right? Because if you can't see your reflection anywhere, you're not gonna know what, if you're putting too much makeup on or if you're looking all right, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
As soon as you guys talked about that, I went, oh, the mirrors. That explains these. I'm like, how big a mirror does this woman need? She's not very big.
Wow,
And she
interesting. Yeah.
was constantly preoccupied with her appearance. That that made so much sense.
And you said that she drank champagne all the time.
Yeah, like not the cheap stuff, very expensive, always wanting another thing, that the nightlife, right? We all go to bed here at a decent time because I mean we need the rest, I don't know about you, but I need to get my sleep. Sometimes daddy wakes me up and I gotta go,
Right, right,
but
right.
I noticed that there was always, you know, up at all hours of the night and then sleeping in like really late. Now, that's fine if that's what I did in college, or whatever. And at 34 years old, why are you carrying on like that? Always wanting to be seen too. We're not big partiers. This family, we're very chill people, me and my kids. Um, every time she always had the sense of where's the action? Let's go, wanting to be seen, I never met anybody like that. And then one night she wanted to go out, none of us wanted to go out, and she was very disappointed, and we were like, but it wasn't like, oh, okay, I'll be okay. It was more like upset that she wasn't going to go out and be seen, you know and I was like, okay, dude, I don't know what it is, but you're going to have to, I don't know, settle down or something, which is very different. Okay. To say the least. I realized that also she was terrified of me. And it's one of those things that at first I'd be like, well, why is she being so awkward with me, and just dying for my attention and just for my approval and all that. Again, Sue, I'm going, you're 34 years old, you're acting like a 14-year-old, like an adolescent girl. What's going on? And it was weird, and then I was like, oh, okay. um my energy is a lot, my energy field in this home, and I know who I am. I'm discovering more and more of who I am. Yeah, I probably freak her out. Me and Elena together, we would freak her out,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
was her energy. And I've been shown this ever since they've been gone. Daddy has shown me that, especially when Smarty talks about, hey, you know what, you're stuck with me. Her energy was so low that she could not handle the high energies in this home, and that's why she had to leave.
Right. Right.
Really, you
Yeah.
know. And I'm, like I said, I'm a very, I don't know, I'm a very open-minded person, but this lesson has taught me some things that no, you don't need to be like so accommodating.
Right.
You don't need to be like that. Okay, so we talked about the two big mirrors. Um, okay, she always felt out of sorts with everybody in the family. Like nobody likes me, this, that, and the other. And my son was always having to prop her up and no, this, that, and the other. And it's like, and it's not like we were very welcoming to her, right? And there was one thing that she did do that I'm just gonna throw it out there. I don't think it's a reach. You tell me. The one night, this we will never forget the night about the soup. Remember I told you about the soup? And convinced Sue that that was some kind of ritual,
Yeah,
some weird ritual.
yeah.
Um, the night that the afternoon when they were on their way from LA, I talked to my youngest daughter's boyfriend, and they knew that she was on her way. They were on their way, and Sue, I'm talking to him, and as I'm talking to him, we were not talking about anything, but in my mind's eye, I saw a vampire's face, and I ooh, it just flashed, right? They're on their way from LA to here, to move here. And I was already being shown who was coming to my house. And I don't know what it was. I just went, what did I just see? A vampire just flashed in and out and it was gone, right? And she arrives and as soon as she entered through the door, I was like, is that what I just saw? And I correlated it to her. And again, I dismissed it. Okay. And then, so the next day, uh, we all had dinner. She decided that she was going to make us some dinner. Right. And we were like, oh, you can cook? Because she doesn't seem like she would know how to do that. Right.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna make you my Russian a special. She's from Russia. I'm gonna make you a special Russian dish that we eat in the spring. And I was like, oh, yummy. We were all hungry. And so we were all anticipating this wonderful Russian dish, right? And so she starts serving us, and it was this cold soup that was watery kefir with cucumbers, radishes, and herbs. And she wasn't just giving us a little bit to try. She would fill up all the bowls, right?
So,
And
so like the vegetables weren't cooked or anything, they were raw.
raw. It was just so weird, right? And we were all sitting around here, and we were like, and we call to this day we call that the soup night. Oh, we talk about. And first, me, I was like, okay, I don't know what to say this, but in my mind, I was freaking out. This sucks. I don't know what this is, but and everybody around the table, we didn't know what to say. And it was me, my son, one of his best friend, my youngest daughter, and her husband, and her. And we were like, is this a test? What the hell is this? And so you would have thought that she would have been upset that nobody liked it, right? Because we all tried it and everybody started pushing away the bowls. Like, oh, dude, this is not happening tonight. And you would have thought, being such an overly, she's very dramatic and everything annoys her and everything hurts her. You would have thought that us not liking her soup, she would have been hurt, right? Or upset. She actually thought it was funny. And I was paying attention. I'm like, okay, we're not hurting her feelings by turning down this weird soup. Okay. So I paid attention to that. So the next day, after this incident, she comes. I was in the living room and she comes in and sits next to me and she said, I talked to my other friend in California, and she's my best friend. And I told her that I had made you dinner, and I told her what dish I had made you, and she knows the dish. And she said, laughing like in shock, I can't believe you did that to those people. And we all heard that, and I said, that's weird. Is that not weird? Why are you telling?
It is the total, everything is weird. And I haven't, I'm envisioning her in like long flowing kind of clothes when she dresses. You said she has an accent, and she had told you she was only in this country a couple of years, but
Yeah,
she spoke fairly good English, though.
yeah, she speaks very well English.
Yeah,
Very.
yeah.
Um, here's the thing. Another thing that you hang on. Uh, so they don't need sleep. Um, the hang on. Um, I feel like when she came here with a definite agenda, and now that she's been gone, because she came here with, she's kind of like attached at the hip with another girl that I met. You
Yeah.
know, the other girl is more timid, very humble, very totally opposite of her, and we feel like that could have been her handler, because she was always talking to her on the phone in Russian all the time,
Okay.
talking on, if she would get upset with me or something, she would be talking on the, and they would both be talking in Russian. Even one time we even went out and she was here for the weekend, and my son and I were really irritated because the four of us were in the car, and they carried on in Russian, like did not want us to know anything. And to me, that's, what are you doing? Both of you speak perfect English.
It's not polite, but what do you think the agenda is? Like she singled your son out.
Yeah, and the crazy part, oh, I haven't told you how they met.
Oh,
Asked them, and the one that told the story, that it was the two women that told the story, right? The two, so they're both Russian. They've both known each other. I think the one girl has been here longer than her. And she said that they're pretty much attached at the hip. Okay. And so she was saying that they had come to Vegas for the weekend, and that they were cruising around at the strip, and they happened to drive by the spot where my son was out with his friend for the night, you know, and just having a couple beers, shooting the shit, what young dudes do. And she said, according to the two women, she said that they were driving by, and all of a sudden, the one girl turns to um, my son's girlfriend now and said, "What about him?
oh,
Want to talk to him?" And she turned around and looked at back, and there was my son. And she goes, "You think so?" And she goes, "Yeah, give it a shot." And so
ooh.
so they got out of the car. She parked the car. She went and started talking to him. Is that not odd? I don't know. That's just the oddest thing I've heard.
Yeah, very odd. Very odd.
Uh-huh. It was like, so that doesn't sound like they are on assignment. I don't know what does.
Yeah. Well, you know what interests me is the fact that she said they had a past life together.
Yeah,
Okay. So
yeah,
what if they were together and he, passed?
yeah,
Here he is again, and she found him.
yeah, yeah.
Or it could be random. I mean, I'm just making things up, but
No, and here's the thing. We don't know. And this is, like you said, I love what you said at the beginning. This is why we share our stories.
yeah.
This is okay. Now, let me tell you something about it was interesting what Deanne said about vampires don't procreate the way humans do, but that there's some that do, right? There's some that, I think she said that. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Uh, I don't know if she did say that they do. To be honest, I don't remember that part.
Okay, no,
But she said don't have children like we do.
okay.
Yeah.
Um, but and that was the one thing she would say over and over and over and over. Don't worry, I don't want kids. I love kids and kids love me, but I don't want. And I found that interesting because I was like, really? And she would make it a point of saying that, like, repeatedly. enough for me to go, oh, so when Deanne said that, I was like, okay, that's interesting,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
she would bring it up like randomly, like, don't worry, I'm not interested in any of that. I'm not having kids. I don't want kids ever. And I was like, wow, that's nobody's asking you to, I mean, you just met my son. Nobody's in your business,
Yeah, yeah,
But,
yeah,
but she had to, just bring it out there like that.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, well, that's the question I would like to ask Deanne then, because I don't know if there's some vampires in my own family, like about my grandpa. Maybe he was just evil. I don't know, but we don't know about my grandpa. We don't know, because Elena asked me the other day, we were talking about all this, and Elena goes, Mom, you know what's funny? You've never said anything about how your grandpa died or when he died or anything like that. And I'm like, because I don't know. She goes, Mom, you don't know it when you don't know if your grandpa even died? And I was like, and we both got chills too. We were like, wait. She goes, Mom, just to reiterate, all the stories that you tell us about your extended family, right? I know when this Tio died. I even know when your abuela, your grandma died, because you told me all about it. But she said, you've never told me about that one grandpa of yours, how he died, if he died, and when he died. And Sue, we were like, wait, wait.
Yeah, interesting. Well, when I had talked to you about this, I did muscle testing and I got some intuitive hits. So
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like your theories are sound. Let's put it that.
Okay. Thank you. Because another thing about my grandpa,
Yeah.
if you look at his pictures, he looks the same in all the pictures, like old in all the pictures. There was a picture that I have of me. I was about 4 years old. The whole family was surrounding him, and he would not look at the camera. He's like turned totally away, like refusing to look in the camera. And then just this old man in a chair. And then back 30 years, I have a picture like 30, 40 years before that, when he would have been a younger man, and he looks old. And I was like, and I showed Elena, I sent her the two pictures. She goes, I said, this is my grandpa this time, and then this time. And the man looks ancient, always looked ancient. Isn't that wild? How they, just that's how they are. Um, so yeah, it would be wild that it's wild that my son met this person, and it got me digging into my own extended family.
Yeah, yeah.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
I don't know. These people or these beings have a certain look about them. And so it's gotten me looking at other family members, extended family, that are like, oh, huh. But so the question, what I really want to know is, do some procreate or not? Because I mean, my grandpa had a ton of kids,
I'm
you
gonna
know?
go back and watch that because honestly, I'm a little blank right now.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
I know that's horrible, but we've talked
No, no,
about so many things. And I feel like she said that they do not procreate in the normal way. They can't have kids. That's what I think she said.
right.
Um, so they have to like make other vampires. I
Makeup.
think that's what she said.
I wonder if could they mix with humans?
Good question.
And that's where I'm ever since that I've been like, well, because what I thought she said was that some do and some choose
Yeah.
not to,
Yeah.
is what I thought was said.
I feel like we should go right back right this second and watch the video.
Okay.
Hey,
Yeah,
Dee. Yeah, we'll call her.
no, and so ever since then, ever since they've been gone, oh, it was crazy because um things just escalated after that. I started seeing things. I don't have a lot of rules. I'm pretty chill. Keep your space clean. Just do your part, keep the house nice, and we'll be good. But one more little thing is, be quiet after certain hours, because people want to sleep. And that was the one think that she had a hard time with. Like, oh, you don't accept me because, I'm just this loud person and I know blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you can make all the noise all you want to all day long, but honey, after a certain time, no. And then things started getting worse. We noticed that instead of confronting me, then she would like hide behind my son and he would go come and fight me, right? And just verbal arguments that were like really ugly. And as it escalated, she was using him and his energy and his all of, not to get to me. So she came here to divide and conquer, it
Right.
feels like.
Right.
Because now he's been gone. He's been in LA going on 3 months. And, he doesn't call a lot because it upsets her if he talks to family. Very controlling, very,
Right.
on top of him and all that, this mess. So I know that the good energy, first of all, the good energy here was too much for her.
Right. Right.
And it drove her away like it was going to, right? I mean, I've got the pyramid, I got cubes, I got pithalum.
You got
So,
the wands. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
not only that, I got daddy and my giftings and my family. We saw what we saw.
Right.
I, I don't know. There's too many of us going, oh, that's just weird.
When
That's
when you add up all these facts, it does seem very odd. Especially like, okay, you're a guest in someone's house. Okay, and let's say you go to bed 10, 11, 12. Doesn't matter.
yeah,
Common courtesy says you kind of follow the rules, okay?
yeah,
And let's say you're a night owl and you don't sleep then, well, then you do something quiet, right? Just it's just common courtesy, but it just seems interesting.
yeah. Yeah, and I feel like the agenda was come here and disrupt this family
Yeah. Yeah.
because right now, I'm telling you, I've cried enough tears after everything. I
Yeah.
had reached out to Smarty and B also because it got so bad at times,
Right. Right.
and it got to the point where when you're being gaslighted by this person and the energy is funky. I started feeling stressed out and not wanting to come home and the time that she was here. And
Yeah.
one time I reached out to Smarty and he goes, no, 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 don't leave your house alone, not with her there. No, just go back and pay attention to what's going on, because I'm one of these people, I don't want to deal with this crap. I hate drama, and it was all drama. And when your body starts responding in a negative way, and you can't, this is not right for me. And as soon as she was gone, my peace came back and everything settled down. We were good. Come on.
Well, here's the thing, though. You spend a fair amount of time clearing, keeping the energy vibe in your house high, doing your thing. And for someone to come in and mess it all up, that's
Yeah.
not cool. Yeah.
No, no, absolutely not. And not only that, but she was disruptive everywhere, like in a family function.
Yeah.
This We went to somebody else's house, disruptive, and we were like, okay, no, no, what in the world? There was something else. Um, and Elena brought it up. She said, Mom, if I'm correct, aren't vampires about protocol? They have they have a certain way of living that they live, and we don't know much about it. Maybe ask Deanne. But she said Elena made a very interesting observation. She
Mhm.
said vampires to me, she said, appear to have like a certain code of conduct, if you will, and they seem to be like they know how to mind themselves and how to carry on, with trying to get along with everybody else, right? And she says, the fact that she refused a simple request, like, after a certain time, please be quiet, people.
Right. Right.
And she said, and she came here and acted out. And the more that I would speak out, the more of an outburst.
Right.
But it wasn't her, it was her through my son. She was using my son to
Right.
attack. And it was like, and I knew it because I've never had my son come up and tell me some of the worst things a mother can hear. And I would have to step back, Sue, and go, oh no, I know where this is coming from. I know my son. I don't know this being.
Right. Right.
Right. And so it would help me go. And then when he would come to his senses, he was right away coming to me, Mom, I'm so sorry about that. I don't know, I was being stupid. It was like watching Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde
Right. Yeah.
and have this being influencing him.
He's definitely her puppet.
Yes. And so daily I keep doing the energy
Right.
work because he's gonna see it. He's a being of light. And was he supposed, is this part of his journey? Daddy said yes. Um, as a mom, we don't always like some of the parts of the journeys that are part of our kids' lives. I've gone to daddy many times, like, Daddy, what about this with this child of mine? And what about that with this other child of mine? And daddy's like, hey, guess what? You don't get to like it or dislike it. It's part of their source directives. It's part of what I need them to do to grow, to discover themselves, to just help them grow closer to me, whatever ABCD thing, agenda daddy has for that.
Right. Right.
He didn't ask us if we're cool with it. He just does because daddy does. And it's daddy's way. And I have had to make the peace with that.
Right. Right.
And it's not been easy. I've reached out to Smarty and he's told me let go and let daddy. And
Yeah.
it's
So she's basically divided your family up.
yeah, it's like us versus them
Yeah.
came and created. And I believe that you asked at the beginning the agenda. That was the agenda. That right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, but it's up to him to come to his senses.
Right.
And right now, thank you, Daddy. Right now, I know that he is because he's reached out to me one time already, and we had a conversation where he was like, okay, Mom, and I was able to explain to him everything that happened, everything, the hurt and all of that. That hadn't happened before.
Right.
So
Right.
I know who he is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and I keep sending her love and light every day, every day. I also reinforce the love and light collar, like Smarty tells us to do,
Make
because
one of those big ruffled collars like they used to wear.
yeah, I'm sure it looks like that by now,
It's the William Shakespeare version.
Yeah, and was telling me send her
Yeah.
continuous balls of white light, and
Yeah.
I do when every day, every day, every day, and
Yeah.
they, as he told me on one conversation we had, he was really upset, and because he's still upset about what everything happened, but because he's with her, he thinks I'm the enemy,
Bad guy.
right?
Yeah.
Right. So he said, oh, and by the way, do me a favor. We know you're still doing that energy work and stop doing that. And I knew he knows it's real. Because he's told me. So I knew who's behind that, right?
Right. Right.
I texted Smarty and Smarty was like, no, well, we're gonna vamp it up. Don't worry about it.
Awesome.
But
It'll be interesting to see how this unfolds.
yeah, it really will be. I'm sure. I don't know. All I know is I'm trusting daddy
Sure.
with my son because once they're adults and they're living their own lives,
Right.
it's one of those things. I'll tell you what, 2024 for me is gonna be the year of, I never thought that could happen, but that happened. you know, I don't know. Just yeah, but it's daddy. Daddy's involved in it. Daddy knows what he's doing. And that's how I can sleep at night.
Yeah. Yeah. You just have to trust. Well, what I'm going to do is in my free time,
Yeah.
I will attempt to watch that video again and get the answer about the procreation. And I'll put it in a comment of this video. It might take me a few days, but now I'm curious because I'm a little confused and I don't want to give the wrong answer, but
No, I appreciate that. And in fact, if how about, because I want this done right too with the right information.
yeah.
How about we release the video after you got that answer, Pat?
Yeah. All right. Why don't
Because
we
I'm
do?
spreading,
Yeah.
crap.
So here's the deal. What I'll do is I will look that up and I will append the answer to the end of this video.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Boom. So
All
that
right.
yeah, because I'm a little blank and I don't want to say the wrong thing, but I'm pretty sure she said no procreation. So I'm
Okay.
pretty sure that's what she said.
Okay.
All right.
Well, we can leave it here because that's all I got.
Perfectly said and very interesting stuff, isn't it?
Yeah. I
This
love
the
I
saga continues.
I love what is unfolding right now. It's the most amazing time.
Yeah.
You know, it can either be like I tell people all the time, there's two narratives unfolding. Which one are you listening to? If it's that one over there with the we're all gonna die and this, that, and the other, don't talk to me. But I'll talk to you, but I'll talk to you all day long if it's about love and light and the new reality and all those beautiful things that are unfolding. So pick your pick
Agree.
because
Agree.
I'm not putting no energy into that. I'm
Yeah.
not,
Yeah.
because that goes away,
Yeah.
All right.
For those viewing, I'd love to hear your comments below. Like we've talked about this and we've tested some things, but we just want to tell the story. So let us know your thoughts.
Yeah, I'd like to hear from other people too.
Yeah. So
All right.
interesting. All right. Thank you so much, Eva. Talk to you
All right.
soon. All right.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.